good evening. This April 1st, April Fool's Day for many of us who remember when pranks were common on this day. This is no prank. It is the first meeting of the month here for Worcester City Council. It's after 7:30 p.m. Next meeting will be a date near and dear my heart, April 15th, 2019. Mr. Paulo, if you would, please call the roll.
Mr. Ansel?
Here.
Mr. Bastancik?
Here.
Mr. Cavan?
Here.
Mr. Myers?
Here.
Mr. Sanders?
Here.
Mr. Silvestri?
Here.
Ms. Warden?
Here.
Everyone's here, so we do have a quorum. The agenda will remain as presented. And at this time, would you please stand and join city council members in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the March 18th, 2019 council meeting.
So moved.
Motion to approve by Ms. Warden, second by Mr. Silvestri. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Minutes of March 18th, 2019 hereby are approved. Mr. Mayor, good evening.
Good evening,
Turn
President
it
Michael.
over to you and look forward to what you have to say.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And welcome, council members. Nice to see everybody tonight. Actually, a very short report tonight. Just a couple things I want to bring to your attention. There's going to be a nice article in the Daily Record by Linda Hall, Worcester Hospital Community Health Program recognized nationally. Our hospital back in 2013 started a joint effort with College of Worcester where we saw a need to help people who had been released from the hospital that had the possibility of falling back into need for health care and have to be readmitted. The nation is going to get dinged for having those kind of cases. So we were looking for ways to solve that problem. Thought we have the College of Worcester with a bunch of students in science degrees that may be thinking about going on pre-med type of challenges in higher education. So we said, could we work together with this? Bill Sharon was one of the leaders on bringing this to Worcester. Worcester Community Hospital has been recognized nationally for serving as a model in reducing hospital readmissions through a community health program. It's featured in a national magazine that's a premier for home health care called the Remington Report, and reducing hospitalizations using community-based health coaches. It was a program that was put together by a group at the hospital. Alex Davis, many of you probably know, she is the director of the program. Dr. Amy Jolliffe and Dr. Paul Nielsen are the co-medical directors, and student health coach Scott Perkins, who Jeff Perkins is his father, and many of you know him. But Scott goes to the College of Worcester, and he is one of the team on that. But very nice recognition. Alex is actually going to be speaking at a hospital conference in June up in Chicago about the program. But we're really sort of leaders in the nation. Bill says we have the largest program in the country in this. So really some neat things happening at our hospital and in combination with the College of Worcester, which is even more special as far as I'm concerned. Nice group effort there. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I think it's online right now, but it'll be probably in the paper in the next day or so. Just wanted to bring it to your attention also that Worcester Growth had a meeting last Thursday and agreed to sell the Larwell property where the old trailer park had existed to a group that Chad Borman has been sort of pulling together to redevelop that property into housing tracts. So that is the plan. It is going to be redeveloped with housing and housing needs that will meet that neighborhood, so meet or help uplift that neighborhood with new housing. So really good things there. We're excited to see that helping our housing situation here in the city. And lastly, I just wanted to make you aware that Worcester Growth is been working in combination with the Wayne County Community Improvement Corporation to look at needs of the area, and is there a way to utilize both of those community improvement groups to help things happen in Worcester and also in the Wayne County area. So just wanted to let you know there's some good vibes going on between those two organizations, and it's very promising to see some of the results that might come out of it. So that's my report tonight, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. No petitions. One person signed up, Greg Garris. Would you stand, state your name, and tell us what item of agenda you're talking about and what you have to say?
Thank you. My name is Greg Garris. I live at 347 North Grand Street, and I would like to oppose the resolution 2019-25 because according to the legislature there, I didn't read that the resolution is including what I think we desperately need and hope we didn't lose a building site contract which was tabled over, and that is an EPA study on our overflow. Our overflow is a capacity issue. And if we're
what does that have to do with contracts for this project, sir?
Well, it's a rehabilitation contract, and if our sewer systems need to be rehabilitated, then what about our sewage plant? If it's not able to take the capacity with the overflow possibly into our creeks, I think
Well,
that
I
could be
think
included in this.
Mixing apples with oranges, this has nothing to do with any of what you're talking about. This is talking about.
That's why I'm opposed to this resolution, because it's not. Thank you.
All right, committee reports, I don't think there is one tonight. I know we're having a committee meeting on the 15th.
Next meeting.
With regard to infrastructure projects and stuff, and I understand the star of that will be our engineer, Mr. Kobelarsek. So take care of those pipes. You're going to be doing a lot of talking that night.
Is that at 6:30?
Yes. Then we have a public hearing, which will be held by Mr. Sanders, who's the chairman of the Laws and Ordinance Committee. Mr. Sanders, I'll turn the floor over to you, and I will remark that I see Mr. Matt Long here, who's probably here to address questions which anyone might have.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, we will call this public hearing open. This is to hear a request from Matthew Long for a zoning map amendment change of 0.124 acres at 145 East Vine Street, parcel number 67-01-098.000, from traditional residential to I-3 urban industrial. And with that, is there anyone here to speak for this requested zoning change?
Members of council, I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Mr. Dutton, I see you're in the audience. Did you have any comments beyond the report that you had presented us?
I do not. I would just have the planning commission review the application, held a public hearing. There was no public comment, and they unanimously recommended approval.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to state that, but at this point, that's already been stated. I guess with that, is there anyone here to speak against the rezoning request? I see none, so with that, we'll say that this has had a public hearing.
All right. We'll consider the public hearing for the rezoning of property located on East Vine Street has been had. We have no unfinished business. Our new business, dovetailing into the public hearing, is ordinance number 2019-08, which deals with the rezoning of the land that we just had a public hearing. Before I get to you, Mr. Sanders, I will ask Mr. Paulo to please read the title.
Ordinance number 2019-08, an ordinance amending Part 11 zoning of the codified ordinances of the City of Worcester, Ohio, to rezone land to I-3 Urban Industrial for property located on the East Vine Street.
Mr. Sanders, the floor is yours, and I know it is 3 readings, and I'm not sure we can pass on accelerated a zoning change, but I'll leave that to Mr. Scavelli, who I probably just threw under the bus because I see. Yeah. I don't like to rely on my memory 2 weeks shy of the April 15th deadline. So, Mr. Sanders, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Yes, as we previously discussed in the public hearing, it's a rezoning application or a rezoning request from an RT to an I3. The property is located at 145 East Vine Street, which is just generally, it's south of the large warehouse for Kaufman Tire, well, what used to be Kaufman Tire, and it's also just to the west of where Worcester Glass's building is there, right across the street from Worcester Brush. The property is directly adjacent to the east side, to the east edge of the current I-3 zoned areas. The property owner is the same as the property owner to the east, so at this point it would be contiguous within owners. In light of the fact that Planning Commission did hold a public hearing, they did vote on this unanimously, and at their public hearing, they had no members from the public that commented either for or against this. This seems like a fairly simple item, and in light of the fact that if we cannot move this to third and final reading, we will just say that it's had its first reading, and we will wait to revisit this in 2 weeks.
All right. We'll let the record reflect that ordinance number 2019-08 has had its first reading. Turning our attention to our second item on the agenda under new business, ordinance number 2019-09. This will be presented again by Mr. Sanders. It is scheduled for 3 readings. Before that, we get back to you, Mr. Sanders. Mr. Paulo, would you mind reading the title?
Ordinance number 2019-09, an ordinance to approve and adopt current replacement pages to the codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Sanders, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we have had from time to time, when the state makes changes to the Ohio Revised Code, which is a mirror, or which our codified ordinances mirror, we find ourselves periodically where we have to make adjustments to our codified ordinances in order to to stay within compliance of the Ohio Revised Code. In this particular case, the items that they had made adjustments to is the traffic code, and candidly, what I was able to find in looking at this, at least with a couple items, is the fact that the state has added a piece of legislation regarding distracted driving, and the items that I looked at, the only addition or the only difference between the Ohio Revised Code and our codified ordinances is that there's a paragraph stating that if you don't comply with these traffic codes and it's deemed that you are distracted while you're performing these tasks, then at that point you have additional what's that?
Penalty?
Penalties that can be applied because of that distraction. So, again, with this, I don't know that we're really, any real necessity to move it along to third and final reading, but I will open the floor up for any questions that they might have, and I will say that we will address those questions to Mr. Scavelli, since at this point, I'm not sure that I can answer much more.
Yeah, when were these changes made by the state?
Throughout the year, so any changes that were made to the environmental code throughout the year, these changes to our ordinances are made to match them. The reason that that's important is because we do not change, we do not really have laws that contradict state law in particular. We can make things more harsh, we can't make things less harsh, and we can't have direct contradictions. So this is to basically make us be in line with state law. And like Councilman Sanders said, we kind of spot checked a few things and went get questions, and most of the time they were relatively small changes, which is normal. This is something that I believe council passes every year.
I believe we do. I believe it's about this time of year we get a list of changes from the state, and we just have to match what they're saying. It's just a compliance issue. Okay. Thank you.
I guess there's no other questions from council at this point. I will amend my previous statement and would motion to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2019-09 on third and final reading.
A motion to suspend by suspend the rules by Mr. Sanders. I got a frog in my throat tonight. And seconded by Mr. Ansel. Would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Cavan,
Yes.
Warden? Yes. Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Bastancik,
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
Okay, the rules are suspended. I look to you again, Mr. Sanders.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Sanders, second by Mr. Bastancik.
Just have a question.
Okay,
Under section 3, it states that these are to be placed in the local newspaper 7 days prior to final approval. Is that something that's done after we've approved them?
Excuse me, I was actually talking with,
Maybe I'm misunderstanding that. Under section 3, the last sentence, to one time published in the newspaper of general circulation into the city at least 7 days prior to its final approval, and no other publication thereof shall be required. Does that mean we have to put all these in the newspaper?
Yeah.
I guess the question is, do we have to have that done before we can make final approval? Just the wording, I guess, for me is.
and I
We
don't
never
know
have
if that
before.
means,
We never have before, but that's a good
I
question.
don't know if that means that most ordinances have to be, before they go in effect, there's a 30-day period, and that, I know Mr. Paulo would always publishes the ordinance.
Every past legislation gets advertised in the paper.
Yeah.
So do we have to put all of these in 7 days prior to approval, like it says?
Says the complete text.
7 days prior to final approval. Are we currently voting on final approval, or are we voting to put it in the paper and then vote on final? I just didn't know which order that came in, that's all. I'm probably,
Well, I guess technically, my reading of it, and I'm not the law director, is,
I guess my answer to that would be that because all of the particular ordinances have been published, and what we're basically saying is that this ordinance is making them in compliance with those, that would be publication, regardless of whether or not the full text of the state code is already published, and ours is just matching that.
okay, so there's no problem going forward then, good.
Just as a matter of housekeeping, though, I would say, the text here does say in a newspaper of general circulation in the city. So,
Well, this ordinance will be published, okay?
but it said the full text, and I guess we didn't even get the complete text in our packet. And usually I get the
The reasoning for that, so you got this, so what these are basically reflecting changes that made in our higher vice code, and what this says is that we are just matching those individually. So if we had done that, it would have been each one of these particular statutes printed in its entirety. And what we're basically saying is each one of these is just matching with the state code. Does that make sense?
That's fine, but I guess that doesn't change for me, section 3, and there are times, I have not gotten a chance to review all of these, I guess, according to section 3.
I mean, the amount of the pages we're talking about would be extremely substantial.
Well, then, we should change section 3 in future ordinances, and we should, in my opinion, amend it now before we approve this, if that's what it's calling for.
In order to reflect our wishes.
In order to reflect, yeah, exactly, sure.
I don't know for sure. Can we revise the charter section 2.19?
I don't think we can do that on the fly.
I don't think you can revise a charter.
We have to vote on that.
This is a charter
That's a
requirement,
charter thing.
It is.
not a
We
provision.
Right.
we can't amend the charter.
No.
Right.
Citizens.
Not on-
And this is saying in section 2.19 of the charter, notice of proposed revisions. These would be proposed revisions, I would assume, of the codified ordinances shall be published one time in the
Why don't we do
newspaper.
this, why don't we just put it on for
Is your mic on?
Okay, let me just, go ahead, and I will get you the complete text if that's what you like.
I don't know that I need the complete text. I just was asking whether or not we had to do this before approval. I'm happy to approve it. I just didn't know.
Maybe we could just.
I will defer to the legal counsel because I don't know. I'm just reading what it says in the charter and I didn't know how that applied.
Understanding the confusion, my recommendation at this point is that you just put it for second reading, and I will clarify the issue for you. That's my recommendation. And honestly, I mean, I was thinking of it almost as a housekeeping issue, but I understand where you're coming from.
I don't have a problem with changing all these to be in compliance with the state code. That is a housekeeping issue. I just didn't know about this approval 7 days in advance is all.
Would we be able to just publish it as is in the newspaper and then approve it next meeting?
I don't know.
It'll have to be a separate
So,
section
I'll
of the
read- I'll
daily
read this here in
record.
Section 3, so let me.
It's lengthy.
What's that?
It's very substantial.
Well, that's why I'm saying, just print it as it is here.
Here, let me, so if I read this here, the complete text of the sections of the codified ordinances listed at the bottom are set forth in the current replacement pages of the codified ordinances, which are hereby attached, which they are not, okay? As provided in section 2.19 of the charter, notice of proposed revision of the codified ordinances shall be published one time in newspaper general circulation in the city 7 days prior to its final approval, and no other publication thereof shall be required. So that's notice, not the complete text. The complete text of this is not attached.
Okay.
I can do that for you, and we can just.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that until the mayor signs off on it, it's not approved?
Correct.
So the mayor can wait 7 days after publishing and then sign it, and then it's approved.
Correct.
So we could go ahead and pass it, and then as part of his right to veto, if he wants to, or approve it, he could wait until it's been published, and then no harm, no foul.
That is correct.
All right, at least that's my take on it, and I think that would allow us to go ahead and vote on the motion to adopt. And I say this every year, one of the reasons that we have our own codified ordinances to mirror the state. Most of these look like they're minor misdemeanors. If we charge someone with a minor misdemeanor under our codified ordinances, It's all about the money. We get some of the fine monies, as opposed that if the person is charged and found guilty under the Ohio Revised Code, guess who gets the money? It's not the city of Worcester. So that's the other reason for doing it this way. Now, we don't want to charge them under any ordinances that carry jail time, because if they're sentenced to jail, guess who gets to pay for their jail time? And that's why we charge crimes that are carry jail time under the revised code. So, anyways, just thought I'd remind council that's why we do it this way.
Mr. President, at this point, I mean, in light of the fact that this seems to have created some major consternation with a couple of our council members over these amendments, and they would like to look at them, I certainly have no issue with doing whatever's necessary to adjust my motion or retract my motion or whatever, to give them another 2 weeks' time to look these over.
Well,
Fine with that.
I get, we go through this every year, and, you know, are we really gonna say, no, I don't like this one, so now we're not gonna have this, this change to the codified ordinance, which then leaves us still charging the crime, and otherwise, and it's going to then be under the revised code instead of our own code. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying. You know, I didn't see any great hue and outcry about, you know, moving forward. We've already got a motion that, to suspend the rules, and, which has passed. Now to try to unwind it, because someone wants to look at the change for a right-of-way and a crosswalk, you know, I guess that's not a good use of legislative economy. And we probably had more of a discussion than it's worthy of justified. It was a good point which everyone made. I think we found the fix, and I'm all right with the fix.
Mr. Sanders, I have no problem with any of the changes to the codified ordinances, the way that we have to match the state. Mr. Scavelli explained to me that these would match the laws of the state of Ohio. I had no problem with that. I just wondered whether or not we could pass it with a 7-day notice not having been done. That's all I was questioning. None of the ordinances.
I know, you're just worried about these bicycle provisions.
Well, I am passionate about that, but that's not what I'm questioning. That's not it.
I think it isn't, I don't think it's approved until the mayor signs off on it, just like a law doesn't go into effect until, you know, the president signs or the governor signs. I think we're okay to have this, put that this ordinance itself, without all the amendments, be published, and after it's published, the mayor can decide if he wants to pass it or veto it. So that being said,
I had a motion to adopt.
yes,
Are we ready for roll call?
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We got a
Fine.
motion, and second by Mr. Bostancic, which you have
Way to go, Scott.
written down, so would you please call the roll?
Okay. Cavan?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Bastancik?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
All right, we will consider ordinance number 2019-09 as passed, but the final approval has not occurred because the mayor has yet to affix his signature thereupon. That brings us to resolution number 2019-25. It'll be presented by Mr. Silvestri. It's a budgeted matter, so we will not have to suspend the rules, but we will have to have Mr. Paulo read the title.
Resolution number 2019-25. A resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise according to law and enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder for sanitary sewer system rehabilitation.
Okay, Mr. Silvestri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. The piece of legislation before us at this point in time has to do with rehabilitation of our sewer system, and from time to time, we have to make sure that certain portions of our sewer system are in good repair. Because of deterioration, there are issues not just with sewer pipes, but also with manhole covers. And sometimes we rebuild pipe, sometimes we reline pipe, and sometimes we just repair manhole covers. So there's really two drivers behind this project. One is loss of sewer contents, if you will, infiltrating into the ground. We don't want that to be happening, so we have to limit that. And then second of all, we want to reduce maintenance costs. So we want to stay healthy, and we want to stay considerate of the surrounding area, and we also want to stay considerate of our maintenance dollars. And there's about 9 places, and I thank Roger for providing those. I know there was a pretty lengthy list, so it's not in the information that we received, but he was kind enough to send those to me, and I was able to look at each of them, at least on a map, and understand where they are. And I'll just go down through them briefly so we understand. One is on Beechwood, just east of Oak Hill. It's over by the Country Club, south of Buchholz Drive. The other is second one is on East Beverly. It's near Homewood. There's a place, thirdly, on Blessing near Park Drive. On Christmas Run near Oakley is the fourth. There's a place where Mayflower and Bellevue intersect. There's going to be some repairs going on there, and that's actually between Wayne and Kiefer. It's east of Gashi there. Also, Mindy and Patrick Place, which is between Mechanicsburg and Oak Hill Roads. The 7th is North Beaver at Bowman and Pine, both of those intersections on North Beaver. Lucas Street, which is north of Rebecca and west of Palmer. There's going to be repairs there. And last of all is on Kurtwood at the intersection with Green Valley. So these are all budgeted, and I want to thank Roger for discovering them and prioritizing them and fitting them into our budget so we can get them repaired, so we can keep these things in good working order and reduce our maintenance costs. So if there's any further questions, I know Roger is here, and like I said, I appreciate all the work he did in providing that detail to us. Thanks. I don't believe I have to move to suspend the rules. I will move for adoption.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Silvestri. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cavan. Any further discussion?
I have
Ms.
a
Warren?
question. Mr. Kowalarsik, will the residents be assessed a reconnect fee, or is this all something that the city covers?
They will not be assessed, yeah. It's part of our maintenance program.
Okay, thanks.
I can't help noting, but broken pipes, bad joints, and poor flow seems to describe people as they get older. So if it happens with us, I'm sure it happens with our sewers.
These repairs are not near as risky, Mr. Bidenday.
Yeah. Probably more expensive at my age. Any other discussion? Seeing none, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Bastancik?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2019-25 passes. Hopefully it'll make certain areas smell better too, since we don't have leakage and stuff. That brings us to our final piece of legislation, resolution number 2019-26. It'll be presented by Ms. Warden. Is budgeted, will not require 3 readings, but it will require, for one last time, Ms. DiPaolo, and by the way, welcome back from your vacay, to read the title.
Resolution number 2019-26. A resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into a contract to participate in the ODOT Cooperative Purchasing Program and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Warden, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a resolution that we have done in the past, probably the past 4 or 5 years. And this is an opportunity for the city to potentially save some money when we purchase our road salt. So this year, we are looking to purchase approximately 4,000 tons of salt for the 2020 season. And that will replace nearly replace the 5,400 tons that we went through this year. We had 28 different applications of road salt with the winter weather, and we currently have 2,100 tons of salt left. And so this is just a basic replenishment. We are able to partner up with ODOT, and they do our, basically, they go out and negotiate with the salt mines and are able to provide generally a lower price for the salt. So it's pretty cut and dry. I would like to suspend the rules and move this to third and final reading if that's,
It's budgeted.
it says that it's not.
It isn't.
No, it's not.
2020.
Oh, okay. My mistake. I just see budgeted and it's,
I mean, well, and it's road salt, so it should, it's an assumed thing that we're gonna go through a lot of it, but, yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we move Resolution 2019-26 to third and final reading.
Second.
all right. The other reason that I was confused, it doesn't have 3 readings on the, so.
Maybe Ms. DiPaolo was playing April Fool's prank on you.
So that language will have to be added. So I was misled.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, so there's been a motion to suspend the rules, and who seconded? I thought it was Mr.
Mr.
Cavan. I was still trying to figure out why I thought it was budgeted, so would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
The rules are suspended.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt by Ms. Warden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by
Does that
Mr.
work?
Cavan. Anything else?
Just one quick question. I was curious to know about how much we save by partnering with ODOT. I know it's a very unstable and volatile market, but do we have any idea, just for the citizenry? I mean, I'd be interested to know how much our savings is through the partnership.
We have Mr. Denning here who can answer that for us.
I don't really have a defined number, but I have talked to a couple other communities that do a co-op with the University of Akron, and they said that they're paying quite a bit more, and they're even closer to the lake. So without knowing specifically to Wayne County, I don't have that number.
No, that's fine. That's good logic. I just wanted the citizenry to know that we're going above and beyond to make sure that our tax dollars go further than most other communities through these partnerships, and it's great that we can get a great value. So we're really only halfway through our stock, right? We've got,
A little more, well, no, we've got
We've got
2,100 tons left.
okay.
Right,
Okay.
so
about
we-
3/4 of the way through, or
2/3.
2/3, okay. So we only have half a season left, if you will, because we used 5,400 so far in 2019.
Right.
The other way we save money is economies of scale. You know, ODOT's buying hundreds of thousands of tons. If we were trying on our own just to buy 4,000 tons, we would not have near the leverage and to do that. And a lot of times we fall down to the bottom of the list. And when we try to do it ourselves, they're going to supply the ODOT contract first. There's only so many salt suppliers out there. And so there was a time several years ago we had a problem getting people to deliver salt when we weren't participating in the co-op.
Sure. Thanks for your foresight. We will reap the benefits of it next year.
Well, hopefully, we're not applying any more salt, and we'll soon be applying asphalt. I saw your crews out there today patching potholes, which is a never-ending chore. It'll be nice to actually get to the point where you can actually pave the entire roadway. So I know I've already heard complaints about the potholes, but it's the nature of the winter, which most people will acknowledge, but, now we'll start paving and people will complain about the roads being closed, so.
It's a vicious
you can't
cycle.
win. At this point in time, seeing nothing further with regard to discussion, would you please call the roll?
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
Resolution number 2019-26 passes. That brings us to the miscellaneous portion, and we'll start with Mr. Sanders.
Nothing to add this evening.
Mr. Silvestri.
Yes, just a couple of things. I want to thank Mr. Denning for being here this evening, and if I could just ask one additional question, and this is just your thoughts based on your department and your work with your crews, but as we went through this winter, I had to cringe as we went through several freeze-thaw cycles, and I remember telling people this is going to really hurt our infrastructure and our roads, and we've seen that over the past few months. Potholes just over the top, worse than I've seen them in recent years. Would you say, where would you put us in terms of last year, I think even the year before? This seems like things are pretty bad out there. Do you have tons of work to do here in the spring, or how are you looking at this?
I'd actually just say that overall, our pothole numbers are going down substantially.
Okay.
With the amount of resurfacing that we've done the last 5 years that I've been here, has been incredible. And so I would say that we are making great strides with the contracts that Roger's overseeing and contracting out that work. We are making great strides in that. Now, you do see some, and that may be some of the streets that you travel. A lot of the streets that you see bad right now are actually on the docket to be resurfaced. They're already under contract, so that's a good thing. But overall, I would say we're probably down at least 20 to 30% less than last year.
Okay. So we're reaping the benefits of all the resources that we've put into infrastructure over the past few years, and it prepared us well because our roads are in better condition. Okay, thank you.
I think it's a couple of the main roads like Beaver and Cleveland, which a lot of people are on. So that's why everyone seems to notice it. They don't notice all these other roads that had pothole problems that have, like you said, reaped the benefit of having been repaved the last few years.
So the timing of our infrastructure committee meeting in 2 weeks will be perfect, in my opinion, but thank you for all your work, and we look forward to what Roger has to say in 2 weeks.
Ms. Warren.
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Mr. Ansel.
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Strange that you had nothing on the
That's
agenda.
2 meetings in a row, you've had nothing.
You go wonder if you have a voice anymore here on council.
I'll make it up.
I'm sure you will.
I got one for you next.
Mr. Cavan.
Nothing to add as well.
Mr. Bastancik.
Seeing that we've already had several reminders about the infrastructure meeting next week, I have nothing more.
Okay, one more doesn't hurt then. And finally, Mr. Myers.
Thank you. Just 2 things. I know that Mayor Brenneman is, as I am, passionate about the bike paths and things in our city. I was asked earlier today if there's going to be additional work done on the bike path that was recently completed up Burbank and through the old Layton schools. Unfortunately, I think it got a little more wear and tear this winter than we'd anticipated. It didn't have a lot of time to set. Is that something, Kurt or Roger, do you know, are we going to be doing any recoding or anything of that bike path?
Well, yeah, we're not done with the only part that's finished paving wise is along Burbank.
Okay,
The rest of it gets a final surface coat.
That's what I suspected, but I didn't want to give them that answer until I confirmed with you. Thank you very much. The only other thing I want to mention is I did have an opportunity to go to the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, which was held at Freelander Chalet, and Mr. Denning was nice enough to give us a tour of the extensive renovations and a lot of work him and his team are doing, and hats off to them. It looks great, and it looks kind of under construction right now. But the vision he presented is going to be a wonderful facility, and I think that'll be a great asset to our community. So well done on that, and thanks for the tour.
Now you can speak.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Ansel, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Warden, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.